When you look at your front seven, so to speak, particularly the front on defense, what do you see there?
I see a group that is well seasoned and knowing that what they're good at, and so we're able to deploy guys and put them in the right positions. So we got guys on the outside that have rushed the quarterback at a high level. Guys like Quinnen on the inside, Jay, who I go back with. I got drafted with him to Jacksonville in 2021, so I'm familiar with his game. And so we have a good variety of guys, and they seem to be working well. And then talk about Jamie and some of the backers, guys that can run. And so it complements the back end well in terms of guys that can erase and just keep us focusing on what we got to focus on.
Have you seen Germaine kind of step up a bit as a leader? Obviously this season here, even when he wasn't playing.
Germaine Johnson, correct? Yeah, Germaine. Yeah, he's a great locker room guy. That's one thing since I got here that I've noticed well about him is that he gravitates to the guys and they gravitate to him, and he's just very encouraging. He's a football guy, so you need those guys around you. Football 24/7, and I'm excited to have him back play with him.
You guys
on the Bo Collins catch?
This last weekend. So we had obviously a great throw by Russ. Put it in a spot that was, for me, a spot that I should have been in. I was a little out of position, and something that is routine for me, honestly. So a little uncharacteristic for me to get out of position on that. So just something we got to clean up in the meeting room we have.
How do you handle that? As a veteran, you've probably run that play dozens of times, and then it doesn't come through like that. How do you handle that?
Man, it's just you're never above it. It's just a reminder that the fundamentals and the things that you have to check on mentally every play before the play starts. You're never above it. You never grow past those things. And so, great reminder in the preseason game. Obviously, want to get that off the tape, and I hate that it happened. But as a collective, it happened to me, but we all could learn from it.
Did Aaron kind of talk to you about it at all?
Indirectly, obviously addressing the team and with the things we had to get better at. I'm clearly a part of that in terms of the things we didn't do well Saturday night. So, obviously just talked about the disappointment of a play like that and things that, we know it's not a talent thing or an ability thing. It's more so just mentally being focused.
What did you think overall of that, of your game that night and, being back in that stadium?
Man, what an awesome atmosphere. I've been there, obviously, multiple times since I was in the NFL. But to be, even though it was an away stadium for the day, to be home and to feel that turf and to be the home team in that stadium felt very, very special. And so I'm excited for the rest of the season.
An actual home game now this weekend, right?
Yes, sir. And so I'm excited to suit up and be a part of that. And regardless of how much we play, just looking forward to just getting out there and seeing the Jets fans.
Does a play like that serve as motivation entering the season?
No, I wouldn't say motivation, but like I said, a good reminder of the cost of not doing your job, and as a safety, sometimes you feel like you're more in position than you are when the ball doesn't come to you or whatever the case may be, and so it's just a reminder that every inch matters. Those plays it happens more often than you think in terms of you being in the right position and taking it away, and nobody gives you credit for it. And then one time you're out of position, you pay for it.
You guys had a kind of a player-driven practice on Monday, I guess. Garrett Wilson was saying. How did that come about, and what does that do for you guys? Kind of an ownership thing a little bit? Or?
Yeah, ownership thing, and also just us, like you say, owning the calls, owning the defense, and really leaning into. What is it that our coaches are going to be calling and why are they calling it? And can we even step in and kind of predict it, as a defense? So, Sherwood kind of took over those duties on that day. And it was just player-led from that standpoint. So, we gathered ourselves. We took ownership of how many reps we were going to get. And then just holding guys accountable how we were getting to the ball, executing the calls. And so it was effective.
Was that kind of an AG-driven thing? Like, did he mention that to you guys after the game? Or
yes, sir.
How did that all come about?
Yeah, so that was an AG thing, and he put us in position just alert and what we're going to walk into, so that it wasn't a surprise at all. But, yeah, he prepared us for it, and, he said this is something that he envisions his team being, a player-driven team, and so those player-driven practices are just a way to enforce that.
He was the only coach there?
So, yes, sir.
Have you ever been, your years in the league, you ever experienced something like that?
No, that's the first time for me.
What was your, did you like it?
Yeah. I did like it. I think it shows you how much we do know and can do outside of coaches putting you in position. We're able to kind of build off of what we know our coaches to do when it comes to even just individual drills, like putting us in position, the things we wanted to work on. That was something that me and the safeties, we were able to kind of go through our regular warm-up drills, but then go, we need to work on this coverage and this coverage. And so I think it went well.
So is it like offense going up against defense, or you guys just defense by can you any more insight you can give us into it?
Yes, sir. So we did go against the offense. Did some situational stuff and first, second, third down. We did a little bit of everything. So just got a chance to go, like I said, go against each other. Like I said, had the sticks out there regular day. Just no coaches.
As Justin kind of handled did for the offense with Jamie and did for the defense.
Yes, sir.
What do you do during a preseason game if you're not playing? In terms of how you look at it, mental reps, what are you trying to get at it if you don't play?
It's a good question. I think it depends on the week. I'll tell you, if that was to happen this week, for me it's just about understanding what we're coming into week one. Going into it, honestly, preparing myself still mentally, maybe even going through my pregame routine, just so I can continue to settle into that. Being in a home stadium atmosphere, continue to visualize and settle into that atmosphere as well. So I think really just going through more of a visualization of what I'm going to be coming into in a few weeks, and obviously the physical part is hard to duplicate.
When do you usually flip the switch to week one?
I think from a preparation standpoint, I say coming up in these next 2 weeks. Obviously you get that bye week, people like to say, before the season starts, so that's a great time to get ahead. It's just a bonus Monday, just like kind of we look at it when you do have an actual bye week, and so I kind of approach it the same way.
Are you enjoying that more?
Love it, man. It's been a blessing. I think outside of just being here, just the team and group of guys we got, at the time I was able to come in, feels like the right time, and so I'm happy to be here with the guys.
Are you getting week one? How many requests do you think you'll get?
I'm kind of trying to filter it a little bit in terms of using my mom and some other resources, so I don't got to take it all in. But it's been obviously a good amount of requests. But I appreciate that because I was in a place where I wasn't from for a little while. So when people came, it was few and far between in terms of how often you could come. And so now I have people that could drive up at any time, so that's a blessing.
When you look at your front line in particular, what do you see out of those guys in terms of the talent? With Quinton and Germaine and Will, your pass rush and all that.
Oh yeah, I see the ability to be dominant. First, second, and third down. The ability to stop the run, and get defenses. Get offenses into those third and long opportunities where they can really eat even more and really get out to the quarterback. And all those guys have those varying skill sets where they all. It's like a cohesive unit where you got a bunch of different people that are good at different things and good at multiple things, and then when they come together, they just build a dominant unit.
You've been around Germaine since he got here. What do you see in his development, not as a player but as a leader more? Because he seems like he's taken more of a role there.
Yeah, I think he's always been vocal, in as far as like the standard that he has for himself, the standard that's in the D-line room and the standard that's for the defense, and he's never been afraid to not vocalize, what we are not doing, and that's been since he's got here, and now I think he's just even more mature, understands the defense, understands himself, and he understands, kind of who he is and how good of a player he is, and so just putting all those tools together to be the best version of himself. I think it's all came together for him, and so I'm excited to have him back for sure.
You play everywhere, obviously, but when you have that front, what is it like for the back end? What does it do for the back end?
I think it just, for me personally, it's just like I'm in the run fits and things like that, so I get in the box often as well, but having those guys up there is kind of like, if they say, this is where I'm supposed to fit, and they'll look at me and be like, there's no gap, like just trust us. I'm gonna be there, but I know, they might eat up 2-3 gaps, and then there's no play because they're they're in the backfield every time, and so for us as a back end, it's really nice to have a D-line like that can stop the run, and then when it's time to throw the ball, to get after the quarterback, and it's all about rushing coverage, working together at the end of the day.
What was Monday's kind of players on practice like? What was your reaction when you heard there was just going to be players and coach coming?
Yeah, it was nothing crazy, just like a players like walkthrough type thing that we had, and it was cool to really run that ourselves and be accountable totally, because we were out there making the calls and kind of going off based off what we saw and everything like that. And so I think, like they've said it, the great teams are those player-led teams, and the players are accountable, and we understand what the standard is and how we need to get things done, and how things should operate. And so we got a chance to go out there and kind of prove it for the first time, just it being us.
Now, what does Aaron Glenn expect from his Nickelback? What has he told you?
I'll say just physical, discipline in detail, and I think that's universal for all the positions. We got to be disciplined, and we got to be on the details, and ultimately just be a competitor.
So talk to, I think it was last week or week before, you guys had some of the former Jets here. Ray Mickens is one of them, obviously one of AG's teammates and a really good Nickelback. Did you talk to him at all during that stretch?
No, I didn't see him. So.
Does the Nickelback position change any at all? I know most of the stuff is universal, but from the old system to the new system, any of your responsibilities change?
I mean, sure, I guess, because it's a different defense, but there's elements of similarities. You have man, cover three, and then all those coverages down the line. So. I say it's more the same, but with those different tweaks, those individual tweaks that we do, that Wilkes does, and we do in our room, that's just in our room. That's just what we do. So.
What did you see on that interception you had today? What was going through your mind? What were you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we were in a 3-deep, saw the scene, and just went to go attack the ball, honestly.
When you look at your front, defensive front here, what do you obviously new here, what do you see in terms of the talent and potential for those guys?
Yeah, we honestly, we have all the talent that we need up front. Those guys get after the quarterback. They're physical in the run game, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, they're doing great. Obviously, we're not where we need to be right now. We have a lot to improve on, and that's expected. But yeah, they're doing a good job though.
When they're as dynamic as they can be with Will and Germaine, what does that do for the defensive guys?
Yeah, I mean, it makes our job easier. You know what I mean? When the faster they can get to the quarterback, we don't have to cover as long, and it works. It's vice versa. You know what I mean? More sticky our coverage is, the more they get to eat up front and get sacks. Pressure the quarterback. So yeah, they work hand in hand.
You have the new guy on the team. Do you gravitate to other new guys? Like I think you and Andre. Andre was right out here a second ago.
Do I gravitate to them?
Yeah. Have you guys kind of hit it off? Just being
the other newer guys on the team.
Yeah, I mean. Obviously, I'm always around the defense, meeting with the DBs and whatnot. So I wouldn't say I gravitate towards the new guys. I think we all have to build that chemistry together, regardless of who it is, because you never know who could be in there. It could be a ones, a twos, guys that's repping with the threes. So we're all trying to build that chemistry and camaraderie and whatnot.
Hey, Brandon.
What did you?
We have a question over here.
Okay. My favorite part of playing football? Winning. It's fun to win. It's the best feeling in the world. But yeah, I would say that's my favorite part. Appreciate your question.
What did you think of Monday's practice where it was just players and coach wanted to?
What did I think about it?
Yeah, I mean, you're part of, if you ever had one of those where just play kind of a player run practice, and what do you think the benefit of that is?
Yeah, it was personally, different for me because I've never experienced that, just not having coaches out there, but I think it was great for for us to lead the groups, you know what I mean, by ourselves, like individual. We didn't have a coach to put us through like a little slow tempo individual, you know what I mean. So it was cool for us to just like gel and just go out there and do what we love to do.
How long was it? How long of a practice did you guys? And like, how did you decide to call it? All right, we're done. Like, how long was it, and when?
Yeah, I mean, players. We didn't decide to call it. AG was out there, but yeah. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
How long was it? How long was the practice?
Oh, not long at all. Not long at all. Maybe. Yeah, it wasn't long at all. Yeah.
You came from a winning culture of Baltimore. Do you like the culture that's being built here?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I think when you're around, obviously coaches that have won, AG who has won in Detroit and whatnot, like he understands the standard and what it takes to win. And so I think with him as well as the other coaches that are on staff, I think with their vision, guys are buying in, and that's what it takes. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what plays are being called, but if the culture isn't right, it won't work. No matter how much you practice. So yeah.
What was the key to Baltimore's great culture year after year?
Yeah, I think. Baltimore's they're known for their defense. And it was a privilege for me to be a part of that. So much history. Guys that I've looked up to, in those uniforms, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and whatnot. So there was a standard, that we had, and I think that's it's a similar standard that we have here, and that we're trying to continue to build, each and every day that we're out here.
KG has talked about being one of the most improved players throughout the camp. What do you feel like has kind of gone into that progression for you this time around?
Yeah, I think just understanding the defense and the different parts to the defense, understanding how they all work together, just allowing me to play faster and knowing what the guy next to me is doing. I think that's a big part of it, just knowing how the whole defense works, and it's just allowing me to play faster and execute at a high level.
This is a young roster. I think there's only like 4 guys north of 30.
Yeah.
Are you seeing emotional maturity? Because I know that's what AG continues to preach.
Yeah. We're definitely still working on it. You know what I mean? But we have so many passionate guys that love the game, and if something goes wrong, you know what I mean, you can see it, either whoever it is. But I'd rather guys be passionate than not care. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we, like you said, we do have younger guys, and it's the job of the older guys to just show them the ropes and just have a next play mentality. Not every play's gonna go our way, and it's all about the next play.
You had a position change that was very unique. Often you'll see maybe wide receivers go to corner, or offensive guards go to tackle, or tackle guard. You went from running back to corner. How did that come about? Can you take us through that?
That's a long story. That's a long story. Yeah, I mean, I just felt like that was my best opportunity, to play in the league and be successful at it. And that was a major part of me, going to SMU was the position switch. I wanted to do the switch, and they gave me the opportunity, and I took it, ran with it, and the rest is history.
How did the idea come about? Was it the SMU coach? Was it your idea? How did the process?
No, it was all my idea. Yeah, it was totally my idea. I played it a little bit in high school. Obviously not like receivers that we're going against now, but I just always had a love for the position, and I just wanted to get back to it. I felt like that was where my calling was, to play football and eventually get here.
Did it help you with the tackling, coming from such a rugged position going to a tackling position?
gonna be honest with you. When I made the switch, I did not know how to tackle. I was doing anything and everything just to get somebody down. But obviously at running back, you taking hits all the time. So it was never about hitting. It was just having the proper form, knowing what tackle to use in certain situations and whatnot. That just come with football. And so yeah.
When did you feel 100% like a corner? When did the light bulb totally come on? Like, I feel comfortable in the cornerback's skin right now.
Yeah, I think, I think all throughout college and like my first 2 years, in the league, I was playing on straight just athleticism. I was raw at the position, which I knew, and I would say maybe my third year is when I was like, okay, like I feel comfortable. I can do it, and I just felt more natural at the position.
Teams typically throw away from sauce so far in the league. I mean, you're probably going to get a lot of action. I guess. Is that a challenge you're really excited about, looking forward to, knowing going in, teams are going to probably see away from it?
Yeah. No, I'm definitely excited, about it, man. Obviously we have a great corner on the other side, like you said, in Sauce, man. And so, I was asked this the other day, but, and just like the previous question that was asked about my history, if you knew my history, if I was an OC and someone had my history and is, fairly new to the position, I would throw it in too. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely excited about it. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.